This is the capo de capo. This is the final boss of unaccountability right here. This woman. We're going to go into our trending celebrity news and come back on the other end and talk about her.
And now it's time for trending celebrity news. Take it away, fellas.
Black women are the ones that are getting served the 1-course meal while everybody else gets served the 6-course meal. We have the right to ask for what we want and what we value and what we deserve like every other woman. There is just a big group of black men who really don't like black women. That is a psychological issue. That is a mental health illness, seriously. And that is a direct reflection of self-hate. Well, let me say this. For y'all who got a problem with us and for y'all who seem to hate us, we don't want you anyway. So please stay way over there, wherever they are. They could be white, Latina, Catina, Asian, yellow, or green. We don't want you if you hate us. We want the men who have done the work, who have gotten past their issues, who have self-love, who don't have commitment issues. We want those because we're wives. And we deserve 8-course meals. We deserve roses and all of that. A lot of these younger men in that 35-ish range, even a little younger than 30, they are a lot more mature than a lot of these men who are 45 and up. They're not stuck in their ways. They are very flexible. They open doors. They know how to date. They are actually hunters like men used to be. And you have the older men who are just kind of like, look, it's kind of like you're saying, I'm working, I'm doing me, what you see is what you get. And I definitely want the intimacy as far as sex with you, but I'm not sure if I can commit. I'm not sure if my old ways will allow me to maneuver or to transform into what's needed for a relationship. And you're finding, studies have shown, the older woman and younger guy is having the higher success rate when it comes to a healthy marriage and happiness.
Okay, so, you know what I'm saying? You heard her. You know, she's up here talking about how there's a large group of black men that just don't like black women. You know what I'm saying? And we don't like black women because of self-hate. And she's stating all these absolutes. And, you know, she goes on. And, you know, she's talking about how, you know, they should be able to articulate what it is that they want like any other group of women. Nobody said that they shouldn't. I don't know why she's saying that like someone. They have these arguments with themselves. No one said that they shouldn't be able to ask for what it is that they want, you know, but she's acting like someone did. And she's, you know, she's kind of arguing with the camera, you know, so she can get the women on her side because women, they eat that shit up. A lot of women, they just eat that shit up because they think back to a guy who has hurt them or who has mistreated them. And, you know, that's how she garners her support. It's part of her grift. You understand? And, you know, then she starts talking about how, you know, they deserve all this stuff because they're wives. Mind you, she's not a wife. She ain't married to nobody. But they deserve all this shit because they're wives. But you ain't married to nobody. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not going to say that some sisters don't deserve these things. There are a lot of sisters that deserve these things. A lot of women out here, a lot of black women are very good, solid sisters that we respect the hell out of, and they are worthy of praise and provision and protection and everything else. But what she's doing, you know, it is basically saying that all women are the same and you deserve all this fly shit just because you're a woman. Just because you got a pair of titties, we all deserve it. No, you don't. And I think that men are starting to draw a line in the sand. You know, okay, for, you know, the sisters, for the queens, we gonna go out of our way. Y'all hoes, you get what you get. But for the queens, we gonna go out of our way. I'm seeing a lot of that. You know what I'm saying? And I think she's leaving off two very important words. They love to leave these two words off. We're not getting the provision and we're not getting the protection. You know, women are not getting the protection. No, women like you are not getting the protection. Women like you are not getting the provision. And it's because of the way that you behave. Again, we go back to presentation. Because the last time we talked about Dr. Cheyenne Bryant, she was out there representing herself and presenting herself to the world like this. Again, it comes up. Why are you still carrying on like this in your mid-40s? You look ridiculous. And you supposedly a doctor. I don't know, because the university she supposedly got her doctorate at, it doesn't exist any longer. It's shut down. So there's no way to verify that. How convenient. You understand? I don't know what the hell
Trump,
she got going on.
That's the Trump University sister school right there.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I mean, look, she's not a bad looking lady. I mean, she's not all that like she thinks she is or whatever the case may be. She's not bad looking. She seems to be in shape or whatever the case may be. But to me, the thing comes to mind that always comes to mind with me. Okay, just because you can do something doesn't mean that you should. You understand? And she thinks, again, I think Anthony said it earlier. When you're an older woman in particular and you present yourself like this, that's a thirst trap to young niggas. Older men, mature men, men of means, intelligent men don't respond to this. Investment bankers don't respond to this. What you gonna do? Take her to the banquet with you? You know, she's already kind of got her face dirty and embarrassed herself nationally. She's already made herself look foolish. And so if you're a man of means with class, you know, and integrity or whatever, you don't want your woman walking around looking like this, period. And at her big age, the fact that she doesn't understand that speaks volumes, you know. And then she starts talking about the younger guys and how they supposedly, the younger guys, women complain about younger guys all the time. Okay, supposedly these younger guys, they know how to date. They're the new hunters now, according to her. They're more flexible, very keyword flexible. What does that mean when you start talking about an old bird like this? They can pretty much she can pretty much tell them whatever, and they're going to go along with it. An older man is set in his ways. An older man is going to lead. A younger man is going to allow himself to be led, or the likelihood of that is much greater. And again, like we talked about some of these other older women earlier, older men, they see her coming a mile away. They know what she about. You see how Paul Pierce dish ragged this woman. He lit her ass up. He embarrassed her on her own damn show. No, it's his show. He embarrassed her. She ain't come back from that yet. And yet and still she don't understand. It's like she don't get it. But you're supposedly a dating guru. You're supposedly helping other women get married. And you're not married. How is this possible? Somebody talk me off the ledge. This woman doesn't have an...
He really...
I'm sorry. This woman doesn't have
he talked himself off the ledge.
I mean, my God, talk me off the ledge. This woman doesn't have an idea. She doesn't have a damn clue what the hell she's talking about. And she's supposedly leading other women. Talk me off the ledge, bruh. On God. What's going on? What y'all got on that, man?
Man, you know, I could get real deep with this lady. And I'm not even gonna lie to you. Like I got sucked in, right? I was bamboozled by this woman at first because she came in talking a good game.
Yeah.
But after a while, the wolf's clothing was revealing itself. The sheep clothing started to pull off of her. And you started to see that this woman is a contradiction of what she was saying. And a lot of times women get in these spaces to pander in the efforts to gain respect from men, but also to build their clientele up with women, because they know that women eventually is the one that's they're going to get the cash cow from. That's their cash cow, is women.
Yeah.
So you get yourself out there with the men. That's why you go out there and you say what you say, and then you get on platforms like Club Shay Shay, and then what's the other, Cam Newton, you know, and you get on these platforms because you're trying to get in front of the male audience to build up the male audience in order for them to repost your stuff. And then when you start to realize when you got exposed on that platform, now everybody see who you were because Paul Pierce exposed you, and that really opened up and unraveled a lot of the bullshit. Now all of a sudden you got to come out, because when you played that first video, I've never heard her speak like that. Now the disdain and the fangs come out. This is where the vampire comes out of her now. So now she has this disdain and misandry talking points against men, self-hate, stuff like that. You hear that? That's like somebody that's a bedwench talk like that. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, wow, I couldn't imagine that she would flip like that. But going back to her contradiction, remember she was out here telling Club Shay Shay, she was telling Shannon Sharp, you need to be dating women around your age. But yet this woman got exposed on Paul Pierce for dating a young dude and hiding him. You know, women always talk about, oh yeah, if a guy hides you, oh, that's bullshit. But you were hiding him because you was ashamed. And he's not the guy that you're out here promoting like that. He doesn't fit that caliber man that you talk about. So you are just in a fling sexual act with this dude for he's your little boy toy. So it came out, and then now people like, oh, so you really not serious about this shit. You just want to be out here, gain your finances, run around here like you know what you're talking about because you're this quote unquote masculine woman that's out here on her own journey and don't need no nigga for it, but just sexual activities. But you're not gonna say that because then it doesn't credential you in the space of being a doctor, because that's not how doctors operate. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, man, when you start seeing a lot of that stuff she was saying, I was like, wow, it's really coming out now. So then after that situation, people had peeped her on some other shit. You're out here talking about heterosexual relationships, yet you on a date, quote unquote, allegedly, with a lesbian woman taking pictures, not trying to be obvious, but then, we have internet private investigators that ran into the lesbian girl you was dating. I think a basketball player or something like that. I think she was a basketball player. And that chick had put up your hand and your nails, and that is distinctive. And then when you posted up, you just posted up a picture of you at the dinner table, like you just sitting there by yourself eating. And people put two and two together and found out that you out here scissoring and letting somebody eat your sack. You know what I'm saying? So so now it makes sense why you have disdain for men, because you're now riding on the same team as yourself. You know what I'm saying? So I'll land my plane on that.
All facts. I got one more. Bobby, you want me to play it before you go, or you want to go in there after?
Go ahead and cook.
Okay, let me play it. I got one more with her because this just underscores how breathtakingly stupid this woman is. I don't know how anyone takes her seriously.
Is at 42 when I get pregnant.
Which is this year.
Right? Manifest it with me, Paul. I love you. When I get pregnant, at 42 am not leaving my husband. Hold on. Because I'm making a commitment not just to him, but to these babies, that we will have two people in this house that can tell you their narrative, their story, and you can choose who you want to listen to. You can choose whose story you want to hear. But I want to make sure that I give you everything that I can, which means if I have to sacrifice a little bit in that household to stay in it, if I got to have meetings with daddy to say, listen, we may not want to be here, but we made a commitment to be here. So what we got to do to make sure we healthy so that the family's healthy. But let me tell you why I say age is important in wisdom. In my 20s and even in my 30s, I would have been in my feelings, because emotions don't cause problems, feelings do. And I would have acted out of feeling and not commitment, because commitment's not a feeling. It's you doing what you said you was going to do regardless of how you feel. At 42, I can commit. That's that obedience to my promised land. In my 20s and 30s, guess what? I'd have threw the whole motherfucking towel in and said, you know what, me and them kids are going to be good because I do well. I'm a doctor. I got to support a family and friends. Nigga, we can co-parent.
Come on.
But that's in your 20s and 30s. This is why I'm saying to a person like yourself and other people watching, men and women who have already made those decisions, and they end up being bad decisions, not mistakes, because kids are not mistakes, but bad decisions in the way that you happen to, create your kids' dynamic you put them in. At 42, I understand the power of commitment and sacrifice. At 23, I understood the power of how I feel. That's the difference, Paul. At 23, we gonna tear this house up. We ain't tripping off these kids. We gonna tear this house up.
She sounds like Kamala Harris when you ask her a substantive question. She just babbling and talking in circles. What the fuck was that? Bobby, talk me off the ledge, bro. Talk me off the ledge. It makes more sense to have kids in your 40s because in your 40s, you can commit. You can't commit till you're in your 40s. In your 20s, you're going to tear this house up. The fuck is she talking about? It's you, Bobby. What you got for that?
Don't you believe it?
Oh God. Oh.
Woo, let me get my. I got dust off from somewhere around here. Let me get my damn
your boots,
chef apron. You know, I have the dubious distinction of being the world's first ever black iron chef.
And your boots. Get your boots.
Let me go ahead.
Wade through some shit. Go ahead, man.
My Crocs. I stay in the kitchen. Don't worry. I got my peanut oil. I got my wok on high heat.
What was
all
that?
right? Let's go ahead and wade into this heifer. First and foremost, just to tack on to that, this is the dessert. I'm about to throw dessert in first. So in your 20s, you basically were unable to make a logical decision. You were unable to commit, to make a choice and stick with it, as she so eloquently put it.
She was a bird.
But in your 40s, you can.
She's still a bird. Go ahead.
So much for the narrative about women maturing faster than men.
Come on. Come on now. Come on, Bobby. Take your time.
So you can have a geriatric pregnancy when your ovaries and your eggs are about to tap out and give up the ghost. You can do it now, but you're unable to do that in your 20s.
Right.
Because, okay, but women mature faster than men. Okay.
Supposedly. Allegedly.
All y'all bird brain broads. Is this your queen?
Dude, they book on every show.
That's that. No, and I'm going to talk about it for a second real quick. First off, this woman right here is why this trend, and yes, I understand, and I'll make the disclaimer. I don't like making it, but I will make the disclaimer because what I'm going to say is that pyroclastic.
Okay.
This is why this current trend of women moving into the mental health services field, including counseling, therapy, psychology, psychiatry, that is why this is a very dangerous time in the history of the mental health field. Agreed. Because you have a whole lot of broken, dysfunctional broads like this who are going into these fields so they can they're trying to basically be a Batman villain. They're trying to be the Scarecrow. If you remember the old school Batman cartoon, whatever, you know the Scarecrow, Dr. Jonathan Crane, the psychologist who flips his wig and decides he's going to go ahead and take out Gotham by sowing fear and driving the populace crazy. And his fear gas is what he always did to get everyone to lose their minds. Yeah. Women like her are in that same mold. This is not to poo on all female mental health practitioners. There are some amazing ones out there. Absolutely phenomenal. They're solid. They're about business and they're looking to genuinely help. But you have a lot of women like her that get in the field for the purposes of weaponizing themselves.
Yes.
They're learning the language of healing to misapply it. They're learning how the brain works so they can be better manipulators. And Dr. Bryant, and I'm using that term, doctor, very loosely, she is a code red alert dangerous heifer.
She is.
Because she's also a sex worker. I didn't say former, she's a sex worker. I don't care what anyone says. Again, y'all can be mad at me all you want to tonight. I don't care. It's cold as hell anyways. I could use some extra smoke. Bring me the goddamn firewood. We cook it. She's a sex worker because once a sex worker, always a sex worker. So you have a sex worker who now has gotten a mental health degree, or she's taken studies in mental health and psychology. And now you have the ultimate Jezebel. She is a master manipulator and exploitator of men and their desires. There's a reason why she keeps on going to these men's platforms. She ain't stupid. She is very tactical. She's going to these dudes, Cam Newton, Paul Pierce, Shannon Sharp, these goofy dudes who are led by their loins, that will not challenge them or call them out on their BS.
Mm-hmm.
And she goes to these sisterhood podcasts where she knows she has fellow kindred spirits amongst there. She does not go to places that are going to play hardball with her and ask her the hard questions. She's not going to come on a platform like this with dudes that aren't going to see her with her cleavage sticking out and her fat ass and them fuck me pumps and lusting. Dang, man, I wonder if I could take her out after this.
Yeah.
She's not going to go to those places. She's going to go to places that are serving up nice old school, middle school, underhand softball pitches. Meanwhile, she's got an MLB grade home run derby swing rating right there.
Yep.
She uses her appearance and her pretty words, which unfortunately a lot of us are easily taken in by regardless of gender, and she uses that to gain a foothold and build a platform based on that. Mm-hmm. Women like her are extremely dangerous. Watch out for the women that not just are in the mental health field, but are steadily talking about how they're going to therapy, but you cannot see any sort of changes. Those are women that are absorbing and learning the language of healing and weaponizing it. Mm-hmm. Those are the gaslighters. That was big. That needed to be said. Next up, I told you I'm cooking this effort. Let's go.
Okay, go for it.
Next up.
We gotta get out of here soon, but
these
go for
women, I'm gonna keep it brief. I'm gonna try to just punch the punchline.
Okay. All right.
The nonsense she's talking about how we deserve these 8-course dinners, whatever nonsense she's talking about, all that nonsense, ties back into what I said earlier. These women that of her ilk, they want power and privilege minus responsibility and accountability.
Yep.
They want power, they want things, they want access, they want the luxury and the largesse, but they don't want to actually earn it or actually be held accountable to it. They want men who are going to let them do whatever they want. They want the yes, dear men. Yes, dear. Yes, dear. That's a good idea. All their idea, their program, their plan, their schedule. But when it goes to feces, it's not her. It's not when we were running your plan. It's, well, you're the man. You didn't have to do that. You could have chosen something else. They want the power and privilege without responsibility and accountability. Watch out for those women that want, but do not want to also take ownership. Next point. The older women, these really two tie into what I was going to say about them. These young men that she's bragging about, the young men, these relationships with the young men and the older women, they're on the rise. Understand. These dudes see older women, and I see them talking about it. They are looking for easy sex because they know that these women are very high in their sex drive as they increase. They know that as they get older, they're less likely to produce children or want to have children. So essentially, they're looking to shoot the club up, St. Valentine's Day massacre style. And on top of that, they know that because these women are already struggling to get men, they are willing to trick on them. I have literally observed women who are my age and older. And I'm talking about, as far as aesthetics go, they bad. They real solid. But they are literally tricking on younger dudes. I'm talking about in their 20s because the dudes their age see the game and they ain't falling for it.
Right.
The dudes that are actually settling down, because there are some, the young men that are actually settling down, understand those men are not leaders. They are severed son husbands.
Yep.
Those are the dudes that have been raised by single mothers or been raised by women who are dominant in the household. The father is one of those, yes, dear men. And now that they've got away from the mother, they're still looking for that maternal figure. These are the men that will not challenge them. They will not hold them accountable. They will not, and they cannot lead them because they don't have the experience or the wisdom or the depth to lead as of yet. But they will go along with whatever she says, and they will essentially be mothering men like that. Women like her will be cool with a dude like that, but will bother them because of their ego. They know, well, I deserve a man much better than me, but they can't get it. So they will settle for him, and they will mother him, and they will treat him in a resentful fashion.
Yep.
The last thing is, again, what she's talking about. This has been a theme of all the women that we've been talking about tonight thus far. Men, by and large, are willing to be content. Women are not. The saying goes that when it comes to relationships, men are hoping that their women will never change. The women get in the relationships hoping to change the men.
Mm-hmm.
The women have a never-ending want. Men, we're able to have little and be content. That's why when you see dudes that get their bachelor pad, they got a little couch, little box spring mattress, little TV, and a little game console, and they're cool with that. They're happy.
Yeah.
They can be making 6 figures, and they don't spend on furniture and furnishings because they have the bare essentials. They're good with that. They see value in other things. Women, they need to always have more. And that is the disconnect. The women that are able to be happy and content with what they have, men who see that and love them, they will go to the moon to go ahead and give them more than what they request. It's an inverse operation. But the woman that always wants, she's never satisfied, the next, again, the hedonic treadmill, always wanted the next big thing. Those dudes that deal with them, their pockets are the tightest. You can't get a mouse fart through that, John.
Facts. Yeah.
Kitchen's closed.
Bruh, you hit that out the park.
Come back tomorrow. We open at 11.
I don't understand. Again, it boggles the mind why people listen. This speaks to the leadership vacuum that exists in our community as to why people even listen to people like this. You know, they come on here, they use a whole bunch of big fancy words, and you know, they're structurally, the things that they're saying are sound. You know, they know how to construct really, you know, good sounding sentences, but they ain't saying shit.
That's Ant's favorite term. Your good old fashioned Tex-Mex style
bullshit burrito.
California bullshit burrito.
Facts.
With your chimichurri sauce, avocado, and adobo seasoning.
It's all bullshit. Oh my God. Every time this woman speaks, I'm just like, yo, and she knows not to go on anybody's show that's actually going to challenge her. And I want y'all to notice something with a lot of these women that I played today.
Very cunning.
I want y'all to notice something with a lot of these women that I played today. A lot of these women that are post-wall, you know, and they've obviously had relationship issues, you know, so you're going in some place to discuss having issues, having problems. Long story short, you're just relationship failures at the end of the day. All of these women are relationship failures. Notice the type of people that they talk to. It's almost always another woman or a moist man. One of the two. You don't ever see them, very seldom. You see them sit down with an alpha male, a man's man, a heterosexual man. You're a heterosexual woman sitting down talking to a gay man about your relationship issues, talking to another woman about your relationship issues. What the fuck you think you're going to learn? No one's going to challenge you. The men want to be you. The women going to cover up for you because you got a pair of titties, and unfortunately, that's how the sisterhood functions. You know, they go on auto cape whenever they see a woman out here with a problem. Instead of looking at, okay, what the situation is, they often will go on auto cape and just, you know, start vomiting a lot of bullshit to support the woman without, you know, even knowing what's fully going on. And so again, you're put into this echo chamber.
Or the heterosexual hosts that aren't moist, but they can't stop thinking about questions leading to the bedroom for 3 seconds, so they just sit back and just let her talk, because if they open their mouth, it's going to be something to relate to. So you could take these 5 inches, right?
Yeah, I'm just saying, i.e. Shannon Sharp. You know what I'm saying? Like you just said. Cam Newton, you know, these low energy dudes that all they can think about is banging the chick anyway. You know, it's like they're not going to sit down with somebody who's actually going to challenge them where they may actually learn something. And, you know, I want to challenge people out there, you know, sit down with people that you're not likely going to agree with, but whose opinions you can respect, where you can actually learn something and grow. Because clearly what your ass is doing ain't working. You in your 40s and 50s and your ass still out here Some of them finer than a motherfucker. You still can't catch. What the fuck does that tell you? God damn. Common sense ain't so common. Manversations 2020.